Here, we're going to watch this video and I'm going to break it down for you guys. So let's get right into it.
Hey.
Hey, what's up, Stu? It's good to see you. In his uniform with his full ribbon rack and his collar device. And if you guys don't know, you know, officers, they don't have to wear those t-shirts underneath their uniforms. They can go bare-chested, but as long as their chest hair isn't too crazy. So he's in good uniform here. He's got that perfect ribbon. He's representing his own perfect ribbon. So let's see what he has to say.
Colonel Stu Scheller. I am still, as of making this message, a United States Marine infantry officer. I've been advised through the legal channels that continued challenges to the military and political leadership could result in pretrial confinement and or escalation of my legal situation, which I'll get into momentarily. But I thought that this message, being the culmination of everything I've put together up to this point, was important enough that I wanted to put it out. And I hope that if you support me, you'll share this message because it's that important. To recap my position in the fallout of Afghanistan, I demanded accountability of my senior leaders. And I stated then that I understood that I might lose my battalion commander seat, my retirement, and my family stability. As it has played out, I have in fact lost all three of those things.
So what he's saying here is, you know, in his first videos, in his initial video where he first went viral, he said, this could affect my retirement. This could make my family leave me if they choose to go their own path. This could destroy my businesses and all that stuff. He's confirming, he's affirming that in fact, his family has left him. His career is over. He's facing prison time. His entrepreneurial success is destroyed. And it's sad. It's honestly sad because he's not wrong. Everything he said about what his complaints are right. He's right. But the path he's gone down, not correct.
Would I do it again? I don't know.
And how telling is that? Would I do it again? I don't know. So for all his supporters out there who don't have the time of day to even watch this video, because if you've noticed, and I've been pointing it out, his social media momentum it's stalled and it's been on the decline. So his entire presence online has been declining since the first week. What did I say, you guys? What did I say? A flash in the pan. This is heartbreaking. I mean, I'm not even exaggerating. I'm being totally serious. And I've been saying it since day one. It breaks my heart to see it go down like this for this guy. And I blame, among other people, everyone online, all the grandmas, like we talked about yesterday or 2 days ago, whatever that was, who are telling him that he's been sent down by Jesus to save America. That could not have helped.
Explain to you why I made that decision at that moment. Looking at the organizations that are so dear to me, the military establishment and the political establishment of the American government, I was seeing key leaders that weren't being held accountable and were abusing their positions of power at the expense of the everyday American. And everything that I fought for is counter to that. The future that my sons are going to grow up in is contingent upon the organization being able to evolve, which only happens through accountability.
He's not wrong, but he cannot, for some reason, cannot explain what accountability looks like in his perfect world. He gets into his plan by the end of this video, but he cannot explain what in a perfect world, all his dreams come true, what accountability looks like. He's never made any attempt to describe it.
Update on my legal situations. The Marine Corps has offered me a very fair deal. Instead of court-martial, they've offered me non-judicial punishment for violation of 2 articles, as long as I'm willing to resign my commission, give up my retirement, and accept a general discharge under honorable conditions, which is pretty fair. But the deal hasn't been signed. I haven't agreed to it, neither have they, and I acknowledge that making this video might destroy that deal.
So he had a plea on the table. They gave him a plea deal where if he agrees to go away quietly, they will just give him not an honorable discharge, but a general under honorable conditions, which is still not good. That is, you do not want that. He's saying here, they are offering him his current best case scenario is getting kicked out without any benefits with a general under honorable conditions discharge. That's as good as he gets. And what does he do? He puts his uniform on as an 05 in the military and makes this video, which is only from this point forward going to get crazier. Okay? I mean, it's literally melting my brain out of my ears. It ran down the side of my face, down to my chin. I wiped it off. I smelled it. I go, that's definitely brain matter. I tasted it because I wasn't thinking clearly. Now I'm digesting my own brain, and it's going to come out in poop form tomorrow or the next day. That's what this guy has done to my brain.
And if the Marine Corps, after this video, decides they want to go in a different direction, I'm prepared to go in that direction and see where it goes. Believe it or not, I don't want to start controversy. It
aggravated my COVID. Believe it or not, I don't want to start controversy. Well, whether or not that's true, whether or not I can believe it, it's certainly too late. And he must know, he's not a dumb person. He must know that this controversy is only going to get more stirred by making this current video.
17 years in the Marine Corps and as a battalion commander by saying whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. But as I sat here and looked at the fundamental changes that needed to take place in our key organizations, I just didn't see anyone else speaking up. To all the retired generals that wrote a very strongly worded letter to the current military establishment asking for resignations, I asked that those general officers show themselves, be prepared to give up their retirement and fight with me. If not...
So basically, I love this comment, because if you guys remember, there was this, and we covered it on the ScuttleButt Show, there was that petition signed by almost 90 retired admirals and generals where they said basically we're demanding accountability. Also, you throwing that word around, resignations of, Lloyd Austin, Secretary Blinken, and he gets into some pretty reasonable arguments here in a minute. Stu Scheller does, I should say, kind of about that. But he's saying if they don't come out and surrender their benefits and their retirement and put it all on the line, then they're not currently, giving their best. They're not really fighting with him. And I don't agree, with that necessarily. I obviously just don't agree, because I said he shouldn't have done this in the first place. But what I think is he acknowledging what I said originally, okay, and I'm going to blow my own horn here again, that in my video where he's going to find people don't care as much as he thinks they do. He's going to find out that people don't care as much as he does, or as much as he hoped that they would. Not too many people are going to actually sacrifice anything. Saying you support Stu Scheller on LinkedIn doesn't include you sacrificing anything. Nobody's giving anything up liking his YouTube videos or Facebook or LinkedIn posts. And that's where the line's going to be drawn. For 99.99% of the people who support Stu Scheller, that support ends at asking them to get off the couch or out from behind the computer. And I think that's what he's starting to learn at this point.
I do think that there are some inspirational voices still left in the political establishment. Reference Congressman Mast, Congressman Crenshaw's testimony.
Shout out to Dan Crenshaw, by the way. I rep hard for Rep Crenshaw.
Secretary of State Blinken. I was inspired by some of those lines of questioning. However, I don't think that their voices are enough to spark the change that's required within the military establishment. Hence the reason I'm wearing this uniform now and making this video, because I think there's a fundamental change that needs to take place, and somehow we're missing it. The reason I can't let it go, and the reason I am not just taking the offer and quietly exiting out of the Marine Corps, is because I feel like there are general officers in our institution that aren't being held accountable. For example, Secretary of State Blinken just testified in Congress and got beat up, justifiably, but why General McKenzie, who was the CENTCOM commander from Trump to Biden, didn't have to answer those same tough questions.
Now, I'm going to take a second here to agree with him, because it actually is it's actually a good point. The withdrawal from Iraq, which was a complete failure, and you could argue that the invasion of Iraq was a complete failure, but the withdrawal from Iraq was just another complete failure that ultimately gave the space needed for ISIS to rise to power and execute, murder, torture, acts of unthinkable cruelty to tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of innocent people, which just led us to go back into Iraq to go fight, which caused the deaths of more Americans. You guys know the story, where Lloyd Austin oversaw that withdrawal from Iraq, and he was roasted in front of Congress, drawn across hot coals, his reputation ruined, himself discredited as a general. And then he's put back in as the Secretary of Defense, and he has answered, to the best of my knowledge, from what I've seen, not answered any questions about his role in the withdrawal from Afghanistan. And what have I been saying ever since Lloyd Austin was nominated as Secretary of Defense? I hope we don't see the same type of problems we saw during the withdrawal from Iraq now that Lloyd Austin is overseeing the entire DOD, and we are, and wherever Lloyd Austin goes, ISIS wins. So why is he still Secretary of Defense? I don't understand that one bit. He seems like a terrible choice for Secretary of Defense. He just has not been getting the job done. The results do not speak for themselves, except to say that he was the bad choice to begin with. He was known as an Obama yes man, and he's gotten us into some trouble since then. The other generals as well. I think General Milley has been kind of questioned about some of this stuff, but the State Department has been taking most of the heat in regards to the emigration of Afghanis to the United States and who those people are. Do they have visas? Are they the right people? And why did these plans fall through? But he's right. I haven't seen like Lloyd Austin, for example, taking much heat over this whole thing. And he's the Secretary of Defense. So something reasonable to ask.
Afghanistan has been a DOD run and led mission for the last 20 years. Why the Department of State is taking the face shots to the fall is beyond me.
Well, that's because we've talked about this before, because they love to pass the buck. They love to pass it. They take that buck and they pass it around like it's a game of hot potato.
I think it may have to do with the post-Vietnam generation that feels the need to show respect to service members to the expense of not offering criticism that I think our General Officer Corps rightfully needs. I think history has demonstrated that general officers don't always have the right answer.
I think what he's trying to say, because Vietnam veterans got treated so poorly post-Vietnam, that the idea of critiquing a service member is unthinkable or frightening to private citizens or political figures. But I don't agree with that at all. I've never heard of anybody failing to critique the military for failures that it's made in the past. Right now, they're going ham on that drone strike, rightfully so. So, something to think about.
Before I get into my way forward, there's one other comment I want to make, and that's to General Berger, the Commandant of the Marine Corps. General Berger, sir, your pivot and transition to the next fight, I think, is admirable, and I think it's for all the right reasons. But
you know those cartoons where, like, you see the cartoon character getting angry and they're turning red, and then, like, they explode and smoke comes out of the windows and doors? That's General Berger right now. He has steam coming out of his ears. He's like a cartoon character exploding, and all of his aides, who are also colonels and high-ranking officers, and his private chef that he has, and all of his assistants and everything, they are probably wiping the poop out of their pants right now, trying to figure out how to deal with this, because this guy has been just a thorn in the sock. Is that the phrase? But just imagine having a thorn in your sock and how uncomfortable that would be. This guy has been a thorn in the sock of the Marine Corps for the last few weeks, and the Marine Corps has been quiet about it. Very good choice, which is shocking to me, because they didn't follow the Army's page, where they're happy to throw any of their troops under the bus in a split second with no evidence and no facts, no investigation. Good for the Marine Corps for staying relatively quiet, but they must be going at it. They must be going insane over there. Just picture a cartoon character, steam out of the ears, exploding, buildings exploding with anger, something out of like Who Framed Roger Rabbit type deal. It's just crazy. It's got to be crazy. That's my theory.
I offer to you, if you can't hold senior leaders accountable, then it's all for nothing. You had a predecessor that talked about an awakening. He talked about the role of the Commandant was to protect the very soul of the Marine Corps. But he focused on the NCOs that, in my opinion, have fought very bravely and valiantly for the last 20 years. I do believe there's an awakening that needs to take place, but it's not at the NCO level. It's at the general officer level, the people that are not being held accountable, the people that are leading this organization. And I ask that you use your leadership to use some introspection and look at the problems that are occurring. I'd also like to address General McKenzie. Sir, you made comments that are public record on August 31st that stated you made bad assumptions, that you left hundreds of Americans in Afghanistan, and then you itemized pieces of equipment that total hundreds of millions of dollars. I know you are a great American. I know you didn't intend to fail. I know you have served very honorably and are probably a great leader. But that doesn't absolve you from the accountability of your bad assumptions. I am announcing, well, I've read the entire UCMJ in the last 2 weeks of my purgatory and all the punitive articles, and it turns out that all military officers are subject to the UCMJ.
Do you guys feel what's happening right now? Do you guys feel it in the air? Do you guys feel the suspense building? Because here comes the MOAB. Are you guys ready for this? Here it comes.
It's because it appears to me that no general officers are willing to hold each other accountable. I am submitting charges against General McKenzie for his bad assumptions. Not because I'm vindictive, but because the senior leaders need to be held accountable to the same standard as us.
He is announcing that he is taking the upper chain of command of the United States Marine Corps to court-martial. He's taking them to court. Stu Scheller is announcing that he's taking the highest ranking officers in the United States Marine Corps to court-martial, bringing them up on charges. Okay, let's just appreciate that for a second. That is insane. I've never heard in my life of such a thing. I've never heard in my life of anything like this. I don't know what's going to happen here. I don't know if this is like when Michael Scott threatened to open his own paper company and then they thought he was doing well, so they agreed to buy him back. And so Dunder Mifflin bought him out. And so he's just hoping that the Marine Corps will buy him out to avoid the hassle of going to court and potentially having to present their case, present evidence, all this stuff. But the best part of all, the best part of all of this is I just want to say to everyone who told me that thinking that it's possible to change the system from within is a fool's errand, that I'm some kind of idiot, that I'm some kind of psychopath for suggesting that you could influence the system from within, and that I should cancel my channel and off myself, basically. I'm getting death threats because I said he could stay in and influence the system from within. What do you have to say now? I guess you have to abandon Stu Scheller. I guess you have to abandon your hero, huh? Because that's exactly what he's doing. And not only is that what he's doing, but if he just had done this, if he'd never had that emotional reaction that we talked about, if he never had that emotional reaction that led him to the place that we are today, he could have potentially ended up at this same conclusion, the same point that he is now, except he'd be way further ahead because he wouldn't be getting attacked already by the Marine Corps and getting kicked out and getting discredited. And he wouldn't have found all of these maniacs online who are offering their support, which means nothing. And I hope that he's starting to realize that. It sounds like he is, which have only probably handicapped his efforts that he's about to undergo to take the highest ranking Marines in the United States Marine Corps to court-martial. It's bananas. It's insane. Let's let him finish here.
I will drop the charge sheet so you can see my legal argument on social media. I will route it through my chain of command. I will also route it directly to the former Raytheon board director, Secretary of Defense Lloyd Austin. And then concurrently, I will file an IG complaint, and then we'll just see where that goes. Additionally, I'm starting a foundation to raise money through the Pipe Hitter Foundation. We'll drop the link. It'll be live on Monday where people can donate to my family that's moved on to the next chapter.
Hold on. Let's just pause right there because I want to just address what he just said. He said he's starting, and I'm not bashing him here. This is true sympathy that I'm expressing right now. For real, okay? All joking aside. He just said he's creating a GoFundMe for his family who's moved on to the next chapter of their life. This guy's lost his family over this.
And also to raise legal fees for the legal argument I'm making against the CENTCOM commander.
And for legal fees too, I guess.
I love America. I love the Constitution. I love Americans. But we can't all be wrong. You only have the power because we allow it. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Stu Scheller, and I was the only officer in the entire American coalition fired in the debacle of the Afghanistan fallout.
He says that as of today, less than a month. We're talking about less than a month after the withdrawal from Afghanistan began in large scale, and less than a month after the attack on August 26th. Less than a month. Sometimes these things take years. We're still talking about the Fat Leonard scandal. We're still talking about, in contrast to what he's saying, we're still talking about admirals being sentenced for crimes in the service regarding the Fat Leonard scandal, the bribery scandal out of Singapore. So that's been 20 years. And we're still talking about charges being brought up and people being found guilty. So because these results haven't instantly happened in less than 30 days, he's taking these actions. And that's where I think another reason why I think that he's been really miscalculating this whole thing. And the price he's paying is not worth it's not worth the cost of admission, as far as I'm concerned.
I acknowledge that I should have been fired. However, the hypocrisy of the general officers who are not being held to the same standard is a microcosm for the entire problem that is going to bring down the great institutions of this republic that we love. I implore you, please use some introspection to fix the problem that I am trying to vocalize.
Here's Stu Scheller desperately attempting to remain to work within the system, okay? For everyone out there who's made this man their hero because he's taken down the system from the outside, he's desperately trying to work within the system at this point, which just reinforces in my mind that his supporters are going to be out on him. They're going to be out, completely out. Now let's go back over to LinkedIn here. Speaking of, Stu Scheller, from his LinkedIn page, where he posted that video on YouTube also, from the senior USMC defense attorney on the East Coast. Imagine a Lance Corporal trying to press charges against the senior officer. What chance does he have? We can't all be wrong, which is his saying now. We can't all be wrong. He says, hey, I need a JAG officer, not you. Willing to swear in an official statement charge I plan on delivering tomorrow. Please advise on a time. Sorry, I can't do that for a number of reasons. I advise you not to pursue this idea of preferring charges against the senior commander, as it will only cause you prejudice and potential legal harm. Give me a call if you have any questions or if intend of pursuing this any further. So he's obviously in talks with JAGs, which are lawyers in the military, probably Navy personnel that he's talking to. So a naval officer, a lieutenant commander, whatever it is. But they shut him down like, I am not doing that. Once again, Stu Scheller is going to find that what I said was right, and I hope he's watching my videos, where what I said was right, that he's going to find that people just don't care as much as he does. Charges I plan to drop against General McKenzie are as follows. 4 specifications. Dereliction of duty through culpable inefficiency. Dereliction of duty through culpable inefficiency as another charge, and then 2 more dereliction of duty through culpable inefficiencies. 4 charges, and each of them have the specifications here. They all occur on or about July 1st through on or about August 28th. So he says, failed to supervise the withdrawal of United States forces from Afghanistan, failed to, and it's the same charge in regards to 4 service members here. And there it's Lance Corporal David Espinoza, Sergeant Nicole G., Staff Sergeant Darren Taylor Hoover, and Army Sergeant Ryan Naus. That's his, those are his charges, dereliction of duty. So he plans on filing dereliction of duty charges against the highest ranking officers of the United States Marine Corps, according to his LinkedIn. I don't know, speaking of like LinkedIn, I don't know if that's the best place to file legal charges against somebody, but that's the path that he's gone down. Leave me a comment down below with your thoughts on where this is all going to go. I would love to hear it. What's up, guys? Thanks for watching that clip from our live show. We're live right here on YouTube, Sunday through Thursday, 1800 Pacific Standard Time. If you want, come on by, join the chat. I'd love to hear from you. If you like that video and you want to see more, consider checking out this video right here or subscribing to the channel with this button right here. I look forward to talking to you really soon. I'm out for now.